Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So if you're new here, my name is Ray and I just finished my second year doing physics here at Cambridge. And this is my friend Florence who, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, okay, hi. My name's Florence. I have a YouTube channel called Flow Study Diary, which you may have seen, maybe not.
Should be linked down below.
Thank you. I just finished my, how do I put this? I just finished my first year doing computer science, but before that I did do a year of maths. I just went back to first year when I decided to change subjects. So I am doubly qualified to talk about being in first year. I have double the experience of everyone else. 3
years of experience of being in first year between the two of us.
That's quite impressive.
All right, so I guess I'll just kick things off by saying, in terms of freshers' advice or regrets, I feel like one of them for me was taking my work way too seriously to begin with. And I noticed this for the first few weeks, especially if you go to a particularly, if you are particularly academic or ambitious, and you can have a habit of carrying that on into university and wanting to do really well there as well. So during the first few weeks, I just sort of spent that time in my room, sort of studying a bunch and trying to do the really challenging supervision problems to look good in supervision to my supervisor, even though that doesn't mean it. Looking good in your supervision is not really that beneficial. So I spent way too much time doing that, and afterwards I came to a realization it just wasn't worth it, and I was saying no to friends inviting me out or any events that were going on and I really wanted to go to. I just thought to myself, well, I just ended up doing 2 more hours of supervision work, even though 2 hours at an event could have been just so much better for me. So yeah, over lockdown, when that came around in March time in the UK, I just came to a realization that I just didn't go out and do as many things in first year, and I largely attribute that to me wanting to carry on that sense of doing well, which really isn't worth it, because I hear one of the top 5 regrets people have of dying is that they wish they had kept in touch with their friends, or they just had formed closer relationships or bonds with their friends. And on my deathbed, I'm not going to regret not completing that supervision problem or something. I'm going to regret not spending that time with friends or something. So yeah.
It escalated very quickly from uni first year to die your entire life. Anyway, yeah, yes. I think when you get supervision sheets, they quite often say, oh, we don't necessarily expect you to complete every question on the sheet. And when you were that kid in school who did all the work and you did every question and you're used to being able to do everything, it is pretty hard to adjust at first to the fact that there will be questions that you can't do on every supervision sheet. And I think if you graph the number of people throughout the year who do the starred questions, just an exponential decrease. No,
people just realize it's not worth it.
I think I did the starred questions in my first 1 or 2 supervisions, and you should still have a look at them, be aware of them, attempt them. But if you can't do them, that is normal and fine, and don't overthink it. Other people will be in the same boat, even if your supervision partner is really scary and really smart. I've been there. Other people will be struggling just as much as you are, always. Yeah,
I suppose at that point, knowing just when to give up on the work, or give up on a question, because some questions, compared to A-level, where a question could take 5 minutes to do, some questions can take an hour onwards to be able to do. And just knowing when to give up and move on, and then actually go out and meet friends and do things during university. Knowing when to do that, it can be really beneficial.
So my top thing that I think I did really well, but I know other students maybe didn't, is you should definitely get into a habit right at the start of the year of attending all of your lectures, even if they're at 9 AM on a Saturday. You've been there.
Yes.
You had the first year Natsky, was it maths, that was on a Saturday morning at 9 AM? Because I had it, the same ones. They were, even when they were online, they weren't pre-recorded. We watched them on Zoom at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning. All of our other lectures were pre-recorded, but not that one. But anyway, my point is you should definitely go to lectures if they are being held in person, because lectures are a really great place, aside from anything else, to just meet people. Obviously, you're not there to socialize, but you will meet people. There'll be people you're sitting around. If you have multiple lectures, there'll be a break in the middle between them, something like that. You'll definitely get to know other people in your course. And especially when your university is collegiate, here, there may not be many people in your college who do a course, and therefore lectures are a really great way to meet people who study the same subject as you.
I would say on the points on lectures is that if you do end up missing a lecture, do catch up and don't spend the rest of the time just going to lectures. and just sitting there being confused as to what's going on because you haven't covered that one lecture material, because that's just like wasted energy really, going to lecture in the morning, not understanding anything, and because you missed the previous lecture and then like just going back. But yeah, it's an excellent opportunity, especially during the first few weeks, to like just say hi to other people in your course. And yeah, like it's perfectly fine to just go up to anyone and speak to them during the first few weeks, so like might as well make the most of it during lectures.
Yeah, I definitely became very familiar with all of the other people who turned up to lectures 20 minutes early. Just me and a couple of other weirdos, but like I knew who they were always. And I also felt like I couldn't leave this point without kind of adapting it for COVID times, because one of the hardest things is that we don't have in-person lectures. This didn't affect you, right? Because you did your first year when you were like a fresher and meeting people off your course when we had lectures in person. I have had the COVID first year experience as well. We had no in-person lectures and I was doing a new subject or I didn't know anybody. And for me, like the most valuable replacement for that was my subject group chat, which I thought was really great. People were really friendly. We ended up doing some stuff together. There were like subject meetups. I think a lot of people like went swimming after exams, like to celebrate the end of the year. Everyone went to the river and swam. It was really lovely. And I think it's really important to keep an eye on things like subject group chats during the current time so that you can still meet people like you would in lectures without the like disease transmission. Yeah.
True. Yeah, on the notes of group chats is, if you're like me and you just end up putting group chats on mute, then do check through them often and just see if there's anything going on or if there's any useful information being shared, like events being organized. So another point I'd want to mention is like applying for anything or everything and just saying yes to like more opportunities. So I applied to like join a bunch of committees. I applied to like a bunch of internships, which I wasted my time applying to because I didn't get any of them. And they were investment banking, which I realized I hate investment banking and consulting, but it was a useful experience because I realized that during the process I just hated it. So I wouldn't want to do it in the future. But yeah, it's like so much easier to just say yes to opportunities that come along and then to be able to say no later on. Or like withdraw from these opportunities and just sort of be like, oh hey, like I'm bitten more than I can chew or something. I'm bitten off more than I can chew. And like you're feeling overwhelmed, and just to like withdraw from like a committee is completely fine. And people are usually quite understanding of that fact. And yeah, like for the opportunities that you are saying yes to in first year, you can gain a whole lot of experience from them. And that gives you more flexibility in future years to then say no to opportunities, because you have more experience under your belt, or you kind of know what interests you and what doesn't interest you. And opportunities may be like joining a committee, going to like a society's events which you have never been to, because like if you realize you don't like the society and it's full of a bunch of weirdos, then you can leave in like 10 minutes or something, which has happened before. So yeah.
Yeah, there's always a big societies fair that you can go to at the start of the year, and it's normal to sign up for way more societies than you could possibly do. That's always the way that it works. And you will drop them as you realize that they're not really your thing or that you have too much going, and they're very understanding of that. So don't be afraid to just sign up to a bunch of stuff, especially things that are free. I think especially look for opportunities that you wouldn't be able to have just during life, not at uni. For me, like at Cambridge, the big one is rowing, right? Rowing is hard to do, it's expensive, it requires tons of resources. You gotta have a boat, you gotta have 8 people willing to row with you. You're not really going to get a chance to do that very easily, especially as a total beginner. But at uni, like especially at Cambridge or Oxford, you can just sign up having never rowed before and get that experience. And there are a few sports and societies like that where most people doing it will be total beginners. I think especially some maybe more niche sports, perhaps, I don't know. Like definitely rowing.
Yeah, Ultimate Frisbee is a big one.
Ultimate Frisbee is huge in Cambridge. Maybe Oxford too, I don't know.
Yeah, all the math nerds end up going there or something. Well,
Such math behaviour. Yeah, when I was in sixth form, because I went to sixth form in Cambridge, even my sixth form, I think, competes against Cambridge colleges in Ultimate Frisbee, which I thought was really sweet. But yeah, there's tons of societies like that where you can join them without having had any experience before. So, like, I guess go to Cambridge, sign up for rowing, sign up for Ultimate Frisbee. Go to all of them and see which one suits you. Rowing isn't as scary as it sounds. The early mornings are not that bad. They're not that early because you can't row super early in the dark if you're a novice, so don't worry about that too much.
Yeah, in terms of societies, like just sort of knowing when to quit certain societies as well, because During the first few weeks, a few of my friends were going to like cultural societies, or like they were going to the Indian society because they were Indian, or like, so I went to the Pakistani society, and I just realized it's just boring. Or
Not for you, but I'm sure some people really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so it was just boring for me, and for some reason I felt an obligation to like go to a few more of the events just because I was Pakistani and there were a bunch of other Pakistani people. I'm like, yeah, then I came to the realization that I just didn't really enjoy this. So then I ended up going to other societies, which I found more interesting. I went to the physics one. I realized that I'm nowhere near as interested in physics as many other people here. And then I started to go to EA Cambridge instead. So the Effective Altruism Society, if there's one at your university, then do check it out because it is quite interesting and you do meet a lot of interesting people. Yeah, and I found that I really settled well into there, so I carry on going there.
I have one like bonus. I wasn't planning on saying this, but what are your opinions on the union? Did you pay to join the
I didn't pay to
Cambridge
join the
Union?
Cambridge Union, no.
I didn't either. I think, especially with things like that, think about it carefully, because definitely when I joined, I got all the emails about it and I was like, I totally need to join the society. And how much does it cost? It's like
150, 70 pounds. It's more
a lot
than
of money.
pounds, yeah.
I appreciate that a lot of people really enjoy it, and they have some crazy speakers there who are super interesting and super famous, and it's a great opportunity to go and see them that you wouldn't otherwise get. But it's definitely something you should think through carefully. And I just want to say, like, I promise not everybody signs up for the union and pays membership. So if you don't have that money sitting around, or you just don't think that it's your thing, that's totally valid. Don't do it. Tons of people don't.
Yeah, and some societies do run a bunch of like events during the first few weeks to like collect all the membership fees and then just do nothing throughout the year. Or like being a member usually only gets you like £2 or £3 off like a ticket, except that the membership fee is like £30. So unless you're going to like 10 of the events, you're not going to like break even.
What are these scam societies? I hadn't even heard of them.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah. Think a little bit about societies, speak to other people, and find one that you vibe with. So
yeah, I think that's solid advice. The other thing that I wanted to say is that you need to keep a calendar from the start of your year. It can be like a paper one. I had a proper nice study planner from Mosseri, which had like a custom cover with my name on. If that's your thing, do that. If you just like to keep track of it on your phone calendar, that works too. But at the start of term, you're probably going to feel like you can keep track of everything, right? Like you just know the day that your lectures start. You know that you have like a DOS meeting on this day, and like, is it called a squash? Like the societies?
Yeah, they call them freshers squashes.
A freshers squash. You have a freshers squash on this
Except
day.
they're not playing squash, which was very confusing for me during
That
this.
really confused me, yeah. But yeah, you have like 3 events to keep track of, you feel fine. And then like one more thing comes in here, another thing there. And before you know it, you are losing track of things and you're missing events. Even if you only have one thing to write on that calendar, just start from day 1, because otherwise you will be missing things.
If you're, so like as a small tip, if a lot of the events are organized on Facebook at your university, then you can press interested on the Facebook event, and there's a way to link up the Facebook calendar where it shows you all your upcoming events with your Google Calendar, so you can sort of see everything all in one place. Just like searching that online, like Facebook Calendar linking to Google Calendar should give you like a guide on how to do that, but I found that to be particularly useful in keeping track of what's going on, because when you're scrolling through your newsfeed and you see events going on, I just press like interested, it appears on my calendar, and then like later on I can just sort of see what events are going on that evening, and then just press like either go to them or not go to them, or see who else is going and invite friends.
That is a very good and specific piece of advice that I have not come across before. I lose track of anything that I express interest in on Facebook, so yeah, that's a good one, I think.
Well, I guess that wraps up the video. So if you haven't seen part 1, then do check out part 1 on Florence's channel, and do subscribe to her channel and everything like that as well.
I do vlogs mostly.
Yes. I don't do vlogs because my life is way too boring, but her vlogs are more aesthetic and far more interesting than mine can ever be, so do check that out. And I guess that's it from now. I don't know, we'll see you next time. Bye.